and welcome everyone to Women's Health Tech Wednesdays. My name is Nina Joshi, and with me today I have Jackie Vinyard. Before we jump in, I wanted to give a quick background on myself. I work as a consultant and design researcher in Kaiser Permanente's Health Innovation Shop, where I design and deploy digital health products and solutions. I am so excited about our guest today, Jackie Vinyard, who is the marketing director at Prima-Temp. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right, well, to start things off, would love to learn a little bit more about yourself and your journey as the marketing director for Prima-Temp.
Yeah, thank you. So I actually started off in advertising and journalism, but life stress caught up to me, and it was really exercise and nutrition that, took me out of that. And so that really shifted my interest into preventative medicine. And so long story short, I ended up getting a position to run an NIH grant in exercise and cancer study at CU. So I ran that study for a couple of years and then went on to accept a teaching and research stipend at CSU and got my master's in health sciences. But I realized at that point, I was starting to really miss the creativity and strategy part of, marketing and business. And so I got to combine my love for both when I got offered a position for a health tech startup called Telehealth. And, as a personal note, that was really scary because I was a single mom and it was a startup. And I also received a job offer that very same week to be a director at exercise lab at CU, which was a little bit more stable than a startup. But the lure of health tech just was too much to skip up on. So Telehealth was an incredible experience. It hadn't even started yet. So I got to help, build that from the ground up. Wow. And that's where I got a lot of exposure to digital marketing and partnerships and how to make an app for digital health. And then I saw Prima-Temp presented at a Denver event, and my mind was just blown. Continuous core body temperature. I realized at that moment was us going from like horse and buggies to airplanes, in health. So it just was, I knew I just had to be there. So I worked my way in as a product marketing consultant first, and then now work for them full time. And we acquired Kindara, which was super exciting in 2018. And now we just started our friends and family launch for Priya.
Wow.
The Priya Personal Fertility Sensor.
That's amazing. So much growth. I love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so, would love to learn a little bit more about Prima-Temp and its mission and vision, and probably both of which kind of drew you to that company.
Yeah. So the mission is really to empower women to become the master of their own health. Mm-hmm. And that's our overall mission, using science-based digital health technology. And so our vision, which is wonderful because we actually get to see this happen, every day with people submitting success stories, which is really great. But it's to apply our solutions in markets where pattern recognition over time provides actionable insights to advance women's health. Mm-hmm. And it's also to continue to foster our community, because Kindara has a really great supportive community.
That's incredible. I think that community aspect is probably so important when it comes to this space.
Yeah, exactly.
And you had mentioned Kindara, you had mentioned Priya. Would love to learn more about how Prima-Temp is supporting women's fertility goals using these products.
Yeah, great question. So our products, as mentioned, with our mission, our products really help women, take control of their health. And Priya specifically supports women by giving them key insights into what they need to know to get pregnant based on a personalized map of their hormonal health.
Wow.
And so this empowers them to take, actionable steps in their fertility journey. And it really takes the guesswork out of the process, which current methods don't yet provide. Mm-hmm. And then Kindara is an incredibly robust fertility and health tracking app, and with a really supportive, engaged community. And as mentioned, we receive stories, of how Kindara is helping women and achieve their fertility and health goals. And it varies anything from infertility to a PCOS diagnosis to menopause.
Wow. Gotcha.
Yeah. So, in regards to fertility, when you can't get pregnant, it becomes all consuming. That is, one doctor equated it to an HIV diagnosis. Like, it is very, very stressful. And the frustrating part is we don't know what's happening inside our bodies. And these single point in time tests are trying to capture what's happening inside your body with one test. So, that's, obviously that leads to a lot of confusion. So, often when a woman's struggling to conceive, she doesn't know when she's going to ovulate and if she even did ovulate. So it's quite heartbreaking to hear these stories of unnecessary surgeries and blood tests and treatments just because the doctor didn't have, the data that they needed to give them a personalized plan. So I'm going to show you a slide here on the trying to conceive journey. So there's Priya. And then here's the slide. So I'll orient you here a little bit for a second. So these are two different journeys. So the first one is timing based on a single data point. So it might, women spend the first part of their life, trying to avoid getting pregnant. So it seems there's so much effort going to that. It's like, why is it so hard to try and find to get pregnant?
Yeah.
But if you think about our biology and your partner's biology, because men are an equal part of this, sperm may only live for, sperm may only live for 1 to 3 days, and a woman's egg only lives for 12 to 24 hours. So it's a very short window. So it's not unlikely that there's 1 day or 2 days a month that you're actually fertile. So you're trying to find when this day is with single data point tests. So an OPK, for those listening who aren't familiar with that, measures, looks for the luteinizing hormone, which is a surge right before you ovulate. And so you measure that by peeing on a stick. And so sometimes they're hard to interpret, and sometimes they give false negatives. And then basal body temperature, they're trying to capture their temperature at rest to confirm if they ovulated or not. Basal body temperature cannot predict when ovulations happen, can only confirm. And so this becomes all consuming. If she's under 35, she'll go to the doctor and they'll say, keep trying for another 6 months, because insurance doesn't typically cover any fertility tests at this point. If she's trying, she's left on her own, the doctor visit may be very short. So she's left to be like her own scientist at this point, trying to figure out what's going wrong. And she may then end up having have to go through ultrasounds to see if she's ovulating or not, and blood tests, and then maybe ultimately IVF, which I think everybody here today knows is very expensive. And here's a scenario that may happen with Priya. She's excited, she gets started, she ends up not getting pregnant within 3 months. So she starts doing these tests. When they're still confusing, she may start using Priya. She knows exactly when she's most fertile, and she has enough time to plan because Priya notifies more days earlier than LH. So she can really maximize her chances of getting pregnant. Now, the second one is irregular ovulation, and I included this one too because irregular ovulation is the #1 cause of female factor infertility.
Wow.
And yeah. So, and in fact, that's a symptom of, it's not necessarily a cause, but it's a symptom of polycystic ovarian syndrome, which is PCOS, which we're hearing now referred to as like the hidden epidemic. It's 1 in 10 women have PCOS.
1 in 10.
Yes. And it's on the rise. So she may already know she has irregular cycles, so she may start earlier with these single data point tests, which are very difficult when you have irregular cycles. She's stressed, she's unhappy, she goes to the doctor, and who knows what the doctor will say at this point. They may say, try 3 more months. I need 3 months to see what's going on in your body. Or they may just go straight to drugs, you know, and try to get them to ovulate. And so, but with this journey with Priya, she could start, you know, earlier, and then she can share her chart with her doctor, and her doctor can see, oh, I see you ovulated this month, but not this month. Let's try some lifestyle changes and or medication, and she could potentially get pregnant sooner.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So on the next slide, this is a view of Priya, and Priya, you know, gives a woman a window into what's happening inside her body in one place. So she'll get her fertile window prediction. She'll have ovulation confirmation, and then there's luteal phase length. And luteal phase defect is a debatable topic in the medical community, but basically the principle is if your luteal phase is too short, you might not have enough progesterone to support a pregnancy. So like repeated miscarriages could occur. And so you can only know your luteal phase length if you know when you have ovulated.
Interesting. Gotcha.
So this can really help a lot in potentially with unexplained infertility, which is a big part of the infertility problem.
Right. Yeah. It seems like it's definitely, you know, answering a lot of questions, solving a lot of those data gaps.
Yes, exactly.
And it's funny because I think you already answered my question, but really wanted to see how the Priya sensor is really, you know, differentiated from other products on the market that are working towards fertility issues. And it seems like having that continuous monitoring and that, you know, one-stop shop for a lot of these data points is definitely one of the big ones that I'm seeing.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to show you a slide. And keep in mind that continuous core body temperature is a direct reflection of your hormones. So this is continuous core body temperature in 24 hours. And this is, again, a reflection of what's happening in your hormones. So your hormones are on biological rhythms, and they can fluctuate hourly, they can fluctuate during the day, they can fluctuate at night. So if you're only monitoring your fertility signs during night, you might miss what happens during the day. And if you're only capturing it at one point in the day, then you might miss all what's happening all the rest of the time. So here is an example of a single data point. So can you imagine trying to figure out what's happening inside your body? I mean, really, it's like a cardiologist trying to diagnose a heart arrhythmia with one heartbeat.
Yeah.
So that's you know, that's really what makes using continuous core body temperature different. And then, you know, the Priya personal fertility system takes all these data points and applies the machine learning and algorithm to these data points and looks for predictive patterns that your hormones create to let you know what's happening inside your body.
Wow. I think even just seeing the differences between that single point in time and the, you know, the continuous cycling, I think is just so representative of like a stencil drawing and a painted picture when it comes to
exactly. So it's no wonder why you know, women are feeling so frustrated and confused, you know, trying to use those single points. And then, you know, can really also help if they do need to see a fertility specialist, if they can't, if you know, they're timing their intercourse correctly, they're seeing, you know, they might need to still go to a doctor. The doctor will have all this data to be able to make a much more personalized plan.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's incredible. What are some of the, you know, successful partnerships that you have formed over the past couple of years to, you know, really improve women's health? And if possible, could you share some examples with us?
Yeah, so our biggest partnership is with Gedeon Richter, which is one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in Europe.
Wow.
And they're really known for being innovative. And so they partnered with us, and they're launching Aola, which is the Priya version in Europe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's one of our biggest partnerships right now.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
How have you leveraged technology to improve women's, you know, the women's fertility journey? I think there's already a couple that we're already seeing, you know, with you showing us the app, but are there any other features that you've kind of seen within the Priya platform that are really utilizing technology in this new way?
Yeah, so we're actually the first medical device ever to wirelessly communicate data 24/7. So, and I'm, our engineering team really just, it's incredible what they've done because they've using this completely harmless wireless technology to send the data to the phone. And not only that, but these speakers have Bluetooth on all the time. And Priya has been designed that it actually only uses this wireless transfer 5 seconds out of every hour. So it's actually off almost the entire time. So it's the wireless technology, but it's still collecting temperatures 24/7. So that being done is just a complete game changer because that eliminates all the environmental factors, because core body temperature is, the continuous core body temperature is the gold standard for circadian rhythms.
Right.
And that's how you can tell what's happening with hormones. And it's not impacted by medications. There's no, if you drink too much water, like before an OPK test, it could dilute the results. There's none of that with this data is coming straight from your core into your phone. And then our algorithms do the work for you. They find the predictive patterns that can give you the information you need to take the next step.
How is this platform or this device tracking all this information? Is it a wearable that you wear on your wrist?
Great question. Great question. So it's a vaginal sensor, and it's the same form factor as the widely used E-string. So it's women can't feel it. They can go swimming, they can go running. It's just, it's very comfortable. So that's how we collect core body temperature.
That's incredible. What are some of the biggest achievements, for you while working at Prima-Temp?
Well, obviously the biggest achievement is being able to achieve this transfer of data from inside the body. That's a really one. The other really exciting ones is our clinical studies. So yeah, this is, as I just partnered with Dr. Lauren Hill, Sarah Hill, I'm sorry, Dr. Sarah Hill. And she said, this is one of the most exciting projects she's ever seen, not only to change a woman's life, but women's life as a group, because our clinical studies are showing this has never been done before. So clinical studies are showing information that we didn't know about women's health already. Wow. And also just what we can do today is what we're finding is we're doing a clinical study comparing our algorithm LH and the gold standard of ultrasound. So the ultrasound is seeing Priya's found a woman's ovulating, LH positive never happened. Yep. And the ultrasound confirmed ovulation did. So women can receive a false negative using OPKs and not know that they ovulated. So we're finding that, which is really exciting.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's going to be such a game changer.
Yeah. And we also have this CE mark, and then obviously our patents have been very exciting too.
That's incredible. What are some of the next major innovation opportunities that you see for Prima-Temp and your mission to improve fertility?
So the possibilities with continuous core body temperature are beyond exciting, and they go beyond fertility. And in fact, we're already starting a study for an earlier diagnosis for PCOS, which is really important because PCOS can lead to other chronic diseases like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. And the earlier you find out that you have PCOS, the earlier you can prevent those chronic diseases from happening. And so we just started recruiting. We are IRB approved for that and started recruiting for that study already, which is very great, cool. And then we're also going into sleep. So perimenopause and menopausal women, really suffer from sleep disorders that may be hormonal related. So we're starting to look into studies for that. And also, I just also want to say that fertility isn't just not being able to get pregnant. So if you have a hormonal imbalance, that that could cause all sorts of issues like weight gain, anxiety, depression. So it's, sometimes that what is that word that's coined, bikini health?
Yeah.
It's, yeah, yeah, actually it's like, hold on a minute, that your bikini health is actually tied to your brain and chronic diseases, and it's not just an isolated situation.
Right.
So so we're really excited to see how we can help there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, what you were talking about, just how hormone imbalances can really cause just a whole slew of other conditions. And I think just having the awareness of what's going on inside my body, I think already is not there at all, but, a really important next step that's needed.
Yeah, exactly.
What are some of the other, areas that you're kind of looking into expanding? I know you had mentioned, a lot of ties with PCOS, a lot of ties with perimenopause, and maybe even like early menopause. Are there any other areas kind of interest really when it comes to using, the core body temperature, that continuous engagement?
Yeah, it's really what we just talked about. We've already started recruiting for the study for PCOS for earlier diagnosis, really to do a deeper dive into type 2 diabetes and heart disease and how that's related with PCOS, and if we can get an earlier diagnosis with that, because that can take years. And and so and then also a lot of women are just given birth control to make their cycles regular, but that actually is a false ovulation, and so it just masking the problem and doesn't solve the problem. So PCOS is huge. That's a big area. And and then we also want to look into chronotherapies or timing of medication for chemotherapy.
Wow.
Yeah, so it goes just even beyond the endocrine system and what we can do there.
Wow, that's incredible. Solving so many problems. That's amazing. And
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting kind of when I think, at least when we talk about the fertility space, I know that, we've been seeing reports about like declining birth rates and how, there's just, and a lot of that is because there are just so many access barriers or things like that. So I think having a lot of these tools that can give women, more insight into what's going on and really allow them to plan, when it comes to starting a family, I think is incredible.
Yeah, I agree.
Amazing. Are there any other, interesting, innovative technologies that you're seeing that would be of interest to Prima-Temp in the future? Maybe things like telehealth, or some of those other, digital health solutions that we've seen become so popular, especially, with COVID.
Yeah. So, COVID really accelerated the remote healthcare.
Yeah.
And so we definitely see opportunity for women who are in more remote areas, who may not have access to the fertility treatments that people in more dense populated areas would have. And so Priya allows for, and Kindara allows for remote monitoring. She can share her cycle data with her doctor. And and in Kindara, they can even see that in real time.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
really cool. Always having that continuous kind of feedback loop with the
Yeah.
physician.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's incredible. Thank you so much, Jackie, for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I think what is just so interesting, and I think, really at least was so enlightening for me, was really how hormones affect so many aspects of your body, and how, you see a path starting in fertility, but really expanding to so many other women's health issues, I think is so incredible to see, and just reminds me that, wow, your hormones do a lot. Things that you probably don't realize.
Yeah, your hormones do a lot, and they're impacted by, when how much sleep you get, what foods you put in your body, and it can really just be a matter of, if you have irregular ovulation and you're pre-diabetic,
Yeah.
it's pretty incredible how that can be tied together. Like, if you're not eating the right foods and stressed and not eating right, it can actually, cause irregular cycles.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very
Which is
fragile
incredible.
ecosystem.
Yes. Yes. A fragile but very strong ecosystem.
Yeah, that's right. I love that. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much again, Jackie. Really amazing conversation. Also, really wanted to shout out some of our upcoming events. We have our digital health adoption discussion talking about barriers and regulatory challenges, which I think will be super interesting, especially in a post-COVID world. And then also be sure to follow us on social media for all of the updates on our events. And also wanted to thank Jackie one last time for taking the time today to chat with us about all things, women's health as it relates to fertility and beyond. And also wanted to thank our sponsor, Goodwin, for supporting this program and all of the insightful conversations that we get to have. So thanks, everyone. Have a great
Thank you, Nina. Thanks. Bye.